are hardcore activists, and they started a group called Project Unity. They protest things like ICE, and also they are defund the police. They've had plenty of protests, and they're also doing a lot of online work. So they were suggested to me. I looked into them, and I think they're inspiring and hopeful for us old people. So thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank
We
you so
have
much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
absolutely. We have Ashley Solano and Helen Miranda. So you guys, as I said, you formed Project Unity. So if can you just describe what exactly is that, and also how you came up with the idea for it?
I don't know who's answering. I got it in. So Project Unity was created because me and Ashley started just doing protests. We were just out in our community, kind of gaining awareness of to the abolish ICE movement. That's where it started. But then we were like, well, everyone's saying, well, we can't come out, or if we do come out, we don't have a voice. We won't be heard, regardless if we show up. That made us think, well, maybe we should do like a platform to give people the ability to say what they want and protest whatever they want to say, and put their information and educate people out there by just doing a 3-minute digital protest. And I've seen that many people that didn't want to go to protest actually ended up doing their digital protest. So it was, I guess, a way to let people know that, regardless of showing up to protest or not, you do have some way to get your voice out. And it's been more, we're getting leaning towards like making Project Unity something that they can speak whatever they want about. Like, and it doesn't just have to be abolishing ICE. It can be whatever they feel like they need to say to the community and to the people. So it's just kind of a platform to give people so they can get their voice heard. So that's kind of where it all started.
Awesome. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, and also one of our main goals for Project Unity was to show people that, we're not discriminating, we're not being biased on anything. Like, we want everybody to participate regardless of your background, what you believe, how, your sexual orientation. We want to show everybody that we can be united, not just in our age, but like everybody around the world. We have different people of different races, ages, and we want to show people that, hey, it's not hard to be united. Literally, you have people doing the videos all the time, and it's so easy for them to educate us as well when you see those videos.
Absolutely. Yeah, the online videos, the online protest videos people are submitting to you guys are so awesome, because they're a few minutes, but they're very personal. People share their own stories, and
Hmm.
and there is sometimes some of that lost when we do marches and rallies and things. It's beautiful when you see the solidarity and all of us come together, but at the same time, listening to people's own stories sometimes connect on a deeper
Hmm.
level with people who are, should I support this? I don't know. So have you, either of you, had anyone come to you and share anything that stands out to you specifically?
um just in general about the Project Unity, or the protest, or
Anything, anyone who has shared a story, something they've gone through, their family's gone through, that they've shared with you.
yeah, at our last protest, well, not our last protest, but at the jail protest, we actually had a brother and a sister, I believe, that they had a sign that said that their dad got deported. And I actually got to talk to them afterwards, and it's so crazy to see. Like, you would never guess that someone in their family has personally been a victim of ICE, and just being able to talk to people and seeing like, oh my gosh, like I have no idea, obviously how you feel. Your dad got deported, but I'm here to support you. I'm here fighting for him. I hope you guys know that you guys are not alone. And we like to make sure that everybody feels comfortable. We love talking to people afterwards, and yeah, I want them to know that we're fighting for their dad too. Hopefully, one day he will be able to come back.
Absolutely. How about yourself?
um, My like how are you saying my story? um so I mean, yeah, definitely. I feel like I've had more people come like into my messages and kind of what I'm seeing is a lot of people sometimes want to speak to the organizers just to kind of for themselves, like, hey, this is my story, and this is why you're doing this is so awesome because I'm personally impacted in this way, and you fighting out there gives me some sort of hope and some faith that people do care for us. Like I forgot her name, but the one story that really impacted me was that sh like I've always been at the protest now saying it. Her father got deported over a speeding ticket, going 10 over the speeding limit, like, and just that getting pulled over for that, for speeding over the limit 10 miles per hour, that landed him in jail, booked him, and because of booking, now they know that he's deportable. He doesn't have any sort of documentation, and it makes it easier for ICE to just come in and say, hey, we're taking this person because they don't got any documentation. And for her, it was like, well, my dad didn't even do anything. Why is he being deported over a speeding ticket? If someone with their papers, they gets pulled over for speeding over 10, they might even get a warning. They might not even get a ticket or anything or any type of punishment for that. Whereas a person that's undocumented, they lose everything. They lose their family, their job, what they have created in this land, and it's for me very unfair. So the fact that there's people coming forward and saying how grateful they are that there's some sort of movement here in Reno, like that to me is why I keep doing it. That's my motivation. That's what inspires me to like not give up, because there's people in our own community that are looking up to us as kind of like, I guess, faith to know that there is going to be things done and change is going to be brought, and there's awareness being spread. And I feel like that's how people come forward and say their stories, because it makes them feel like they're involved. It makes them feel like, okay, well, since you know my story, you're going to help me. You're going to keep fighting for me, because for what I've seen, a lot of people that are personally impacted aren't the people out there because they're scared. They don't want to get
Yeah.
in trouble. They don't want to get their families in trouble. Like, oh, I go and I support it and they might get caught and my mom might now get somehow found or whatever it is. Like it to me it's crazy to know that the people that are actually personally impacted aren't the ones out there. And it's like, okay, now how do you get the people that aren't personally impacted to care? Because like one thing Ashley has said a lot is, if you're not personally impacted, you just don't care. You don't
Mhm.
want, you don't fight, you're not out there. But it's like, this topic, it's like so sensitive, like, because there's people that aren't personally impacted, so they don't care and they don't do anything. But then the people that are impacted and do care, they're too scared to even go out and fight. So I feel like our movement had Project Unity was made for that, to show people like, just because you're not personally impacted doesn't mean you shouldn't be out here. Or if you are personally impacted, don't be scared. Use your voice, utilize your brain, educate people, tell your story. It's gonna, like you said, it's gonna motivate people to be like, this is why I should follow this movement.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much truth to that. I think if people actually had empathy, we're seeing it more with people that, especially with Black Lives Matter and things, like there are a lot of white people coming out and things like that. But we need to see it more. There should be no person in the entire world who
Mhm.
doesn't feel for someone. And I know that's idealistic and stuff, but I mean, so many people have stopped caring. And, and then you
Yeah.
got the armchair activists who are like, grr, kids in cages, but all they do is post memes and they won't get off their ass. So you have those too. Um,
Mhm.
so, one of the fears I have that I've talked a lot about, and that I know a lot of other people talk about, if the Dems get back the White House, are these protests going to stop? Even though they shouldn't, are they going to stop? What do you guys think? Are you prepared to keep going?
Most definitely. We've had a lot of situations where people have tried to get us to stop already, and we haven't even been doing this that long, but like I say at every protest, we are not scared. We know our rights. We know what we're fighting for. Why would we stop? There's people counting on us. There's people who literally are, like Helen said, they're scared. They don't have a voice because if they try to use their voice, there's always someone threatening them, like, oh, I'm gonna call ICE. I'm gonna do this. We, as 21-year-olds, can do so much. We have the power of social media. We can get it out there. We can keep it going. Me and Helen always say that even if it's just us, we're still prepared to do it. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if we have a whole team behind us, or it doesn't matter. As long as me and Helen know that we're still doing this for the right reasons, we're going to keep going. Whether the Democrats take over the White House or whatever, whether we have people threatening us or calling us names, that's just a part of it. And being an activist means you have to be tough. We're not just going to sit around and be like, oh man, you know, they're doing this or they're saying this. No, I don't care what they're saying. At the end of the day, I know what I'm fighting for. I know I'm out here helping people, and that's what really matters. So everybody else's opinion, I could care less about.
How about yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, I know it's more of like what the Democrats will do into law and stuff like that. But regardless, I feel we have the freedom of speech. We can freedom to protest. We have the right to us as a community get together and demand what we want in our community. I mean, I feel like even up to the White House, from the littlest position in government to the White House presidency, they work for us. They're there for us, the people. And if we stop now, how are we going to get change? Like,
Hmm.
we're the people that are supposed to be telling them what to do. They, like I said, they work for us. So whether that's a Republican in house or a Democrat in house, a Libertarian in house, whatever it is, I feel like we won't stop, because it's more of a moral thing. It's like we can't keep having kids in cages, and mostly, with the whole sex trafficking thing going on, and how these are the most vulnerable kids. Like, they got no birth certificate, they got no record of being in the US at all. So like, if we stop now, what's going to happen to those kids? What's going to happen to the injustices that people are getting put in detention centers for little things as such, like a speeding ticket? I feel like we're not going to stop until there's some change, visible, proven change because of this. And whether it takes us years on years, like it, then so be it. We're going to have more people in house. Who knows, maybe in the next 4 years we have another Republican, or we have another Democrat, or whatever it is. I feel like things can't stop. If we have the ball rolling already and we have a lot of people on our side, there is no reason to stop, because we, the
Hmm.
people, are more powerful than people in government. And it's like, we got to make sure that the people know that they have power. And if we stop, then the people that are following us and, looking at us for faith and like some sort of movement here in our community, they're going to give up. And if everyone gives up, then there's no change being done. So at this point, it's like Ashley said, we need to stay strong and know that no matter what gets thrown to us, we're not going to stop. It just can't be done. And if we do, then we're going back on our own word. And I don't like to go back on my word.
Right on. I agree. Yeah, a lot of people don't like to acknowledge that under Obama and Joe, they deported even more people than Trump, and there were kids in cages. There were these things then too, and this isn't new in that sense, but it's more it's more reported on now. So you see a lot of people say we want to go back to normal. Well, we all know only people who want to go back to normal are rich white people, because normal was not good for millions of people. So what is your response when you hear people say that? Like, just stop. We want to go back to normal. You're helping Trump. I'm sure you guys get all that. I do.
No, yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, absolutely what you said. Like, what was normal? Like, because when we did have Obama, yeah, we had even more people in detention centers, and a lot of people don't know, but he's the creator of those detention centers. Like, his administration is who funded the detention centers to be built. And with that being said, it's if like you said, we have another Democrat, and I mean, he was his vice president. Joe was Obama's vice president. So I'm sure going back to normal is going back to where people were being deported in crazy amounts of numbers, you know? So I feel going back to normal is really just giving up. I don't think there is a back to normal. I feel like we are in the normal. This is what happens, and what we got going on has always been there. I feel like this is now the time that we need to do something about it and change what we want it to be. Like what the normal is, let's actually get that. Not settle for, okay, well, we tried, it didn't happen. Let's go back to normal, to where everything is how it is, you know? So I feel like for what I have to say to those people is no, there is no back to normal. There is only moving forward to change. And if you're going back to the normal, then it's just giving up.
Absolutely. Pure privilege. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think honestly, there never really was a normal, and I feel like it's getting exposed more because nowadays we can actually see how bad ICE really is. How they're losing children, how they're holding people up in hotel rooms, not allowing them to see their lawyers, literally holding them captives as if they were in concentration camps, because that's what it looks like. They're getting raped on a daily basis. They don't get their proper essentials to take a shower, or they can't eat, they can't sleep without somebody touching the kids, or basically just taking an advantage of people who literally all they wanted to do was just seek asylum. How hard is it for just to allow someone with no record with their family just to allow them to seek asylum? So for me, if anybody thinks that before it was normal, I would say there's something really wrong with you, because normal is not kids in cages. Normal is not losing thousands of kids randomly. Normal is not taking advantage of these people for your own benefit.
Absolutely. And since, you know, the general election isn't for 3 months, now we have the leverage to tell them, look, you don't get our vote unless. What are some of the demands that you think we the people should say we're withholding our vote unless? What do you think we should tell them?
I'm sorry, I never know who's speaking first.
Oh, go
um,
ahead.
One demand, some demands that I believe I would tell President, hey, I'm withholding my vote until you do this, would one be free all the kids that came just to seek better lives with their families, and not just release the kids like they did in July 17th, like actually release them with who they came with. You know, they're adult, like, because what people didn't understand is kids were being released from, what was it, 3 detention centers, 1,500 kids were released, but those kids weren't released with who they came with. So that means those kids are going to who knows where, to land in whatever place, you know. I feel like my demand would be release all the people that came seeking asylum or came seeking better life, that haven't shown any criminal ways, that literally the people that just came into our country. I feel like release all of them with their kids and put them on a path to citizenship, and then I would vote. You know, because they literally haven't even made a name for themselves here. They're literally in detention centers just for trying to be in this country, and same with their kids. And that's one. And two would be have some sort of record of all the kids that come in as well, you know, because they don't got birth certificates, they don't have any record of being in the US. So even just having some sort of, hey, this kid, his name is this is his age, he's from this country. So, you know, some sort of record to show that they try to at least come to the country, that would help us with the missing children as well. You know, that we don't know how many kids are coming in, and they're only recording the kids that are missing. So we don't even know how many kids are really in detention centers and how many of them are going to wherever. So I guess that would be my demand: just free all the people coming in with their kids, that haven't shown anything, like any criminal ways. I just don't believe in people seeking better lives, coming here, and then boom, end up in a detention center just because of wanting to seek a better life. So that would get my vote, just releasing all the kids and their legal guardians, because I know you don't, not all kids come with their parents. Some come with their aunt, grandfather, older cousin or whatever it is. But I feel like my sympathy there is for the kids that get separated. They're first, they're coming into a country that they have no idea about, and they're just children. And then second, they get separated from their person that they came with. Like that to me is just cruelty in every sort of level. So that would be my demand. Release all the children and release them with who they came with.
Absolutely. What
And
would your demands be?
I think personally, my demands, of course, I agree 100% with Helen, but I feel like honestly, I know so much immigrants, they still pay taxes. So my question is, why aren't they allowed to at least get a worker's permit? Why aren't they allowed to at least be able to have a chance to get on that path to citizenship? If they're doing everything right, I don't see why we're still holding them back from what they came from, you know? That's one of my demands, is to be able to allow them to get a path to citizenship if they are, no criminal record, if they still pay their taxes, if they're still working. That's definitely one of them. And kind of like what the governor of California is trying to do, help them with this crazy time right now, help them get unemployment. If they can prove that they've been working, and a lot of times are difficult, some of them are still working in the fields, risking literally everything just to make money for that day, which isn't even a lot. I feel like a lot of people should come around to that idea of being able to provide them with unemployment, as long as they can prove that, again, they have been working, that they're not criminals, that basically they're doing everything that a normal citizen would do. And another thing is that they would really have to make changes to the ICE detention centers. Literally, I feel like ICE is worse than a jail. And there's actual criminals in a jail. There's regular people seeking asylum in an ICE detention center. So for me, that would definitely have to change, their dynamic in ICE detention centers.
Absolutely. Also, something that's just awful that we've seen the past few months, especially before COVID, is we've seen uh, people who don't like immigrants and what have you making anonymous calls. So ICE comes into workplaces and catches people off guard. And next thing you know, they're deported. That is so incredibly disgusting. These people really are just trying to work, trying to have a better life, because we're bombing their countries and they want a fresh start. What is your take when you read things like that, that these people are just average people who just want a better life?
Honestly, I'm personally disgusted by that. Like, why is someone else's life, how does that affect you so much that you want to call ICE on them? That you literally want to get them deported over one little thing because they can't speak English, or because you think that they're so dumb, or something. Like, I hate when someone does that. I actually used to work at a restaurant where my boss told me that there was an ICE raid there, and unfortunately, there was undocumented people, and they had to go, literally, like, he pulled out a ladder and tried to get as much people as up as he could in the ceiling. And just knowing that that happened, like, that makes me feel so bad. Like, these people are literally scared. You go to work and you don't know if you're going to come back, and you have a family waiting for you, counting on you to bring home food or bring home money. And it's really scary that other people think that it's okay and fun and to play with your life in that way. And any little thing they want to call ICE on you. It really just disgusts me how some people could think that way.
Absolutely. How about yourself, Helen?
So yeah, I totally agree with Ashley. When I hear things like that, I get hot-headed really easily. So even just reading articles like that or seeing videos of ICE raids, that infuriates me, and it makes me feel like, how can you be so basically racist? Because at this point it's racism. It's hate. It's not wanting someone of a different country basically do better than you. And in, like, most cases, people that are called or threatened by someone saying, oh, I'm gonna call ICE, it's usually over the smallest things, like not being able to speak English. I mean, personally, I'm not gonna say my uncle's name, but my own uncle, he's a business owner. Just because of one person, one person coming to his shop and wanting their tires done, he asked, well, you're a Mexican? And he said, yeah, I'm Mexican. And then he's like, oh, well, I don't want my car worked on by a Mexican, so give me my keys and I'm gonna call ICE and I'm gonna have ICE come to your job. And it's like, literally just for being Mexican, like that's what you get called on for ICE. Like they literally just your race. And to me, it's like, you really have to be wrong in the head somewhere to think that playing with someone's life is okay or even funny or and humorous in any way. Because to like my uncle, he was scared. It made him not want to go to work, not want to go get that paycheck and bring it home. Like, no one should live in fear of just going to work just because of their race. And he had nothing to hide and he had nothing to be scared over other than being undocumented. He's been a good citizen. Other than he's been a good citizen throughout the whole board. He's never done anything simply because of being in fear. People like that are in fear that for any little thing ICE is going to get called, and people think like, wow, that's my whole life going down the drain. And like Ashley said, it's usually adults with kids that have to come home to their kids and provide for their kids that are being threatened by just any person that's racist. And I get super pissed off and I hate that topic. I just don't like it. It's pure hate.
If you're not pissed, you're not paying attention.
Can you guys hear me? I don't know why, but the sound just left.
No, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Like, I can't hear you, Helen.
What about now? No?
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, she can't hear me.
Well, I can hear you. Definitely. So, speaking of family, how does your family feel about what you guys are doing? Are they kind of trepidatious just because of COVID and going outside, or are they kind of worried about your safety, or are they just really proud, or is it a mixture?
I'm not sure if Ashley heard you. Ashley, did you hear that? No.
Yes. Don't think she... Did you hear me, Ashley?
Oh, we can't hear her now. Well, I can't anyways. Technical difficulties.
Can you hear us now, Ashley? Okay. Why don't you take this one so far?
All right. No, yeah, definitely. So to answer your question, at first my mom was kind of she did tell me, what if I get in trouble, or because she's on her path to citizenship. So she was like scared, like, okay, what if you make a name for yourself and like they start investigating you and then they investigate us and now we're in trouble. So she was kind of scared at first, but I had to remind her, Mom, I am a citizen here. I do have freedom of speech. I have the right to do everything that I'm doing. So it took her a little bit to kind of see, okay, my daughter is doing something good and it's not going to harm me and we're okay. And now she's very proud. Like she calls me every single time I attend a protest, because I do attend more than just hours. I go to Black Lives Matter, of course. So every time I'm out, she makes sure to call me before, call me after, and she just tries to keep up with me as much as I can, as much as she can. And she just tells me how proud she is every single time I'm out, and she calls me after. She says, I am so proud of you. There's a lot of people not out there that would like to do what you're doing. They're just shy, or they just don't have it in them to go and be a voice, and you're that voice for them. So keep it up. And she's very encouraging now. Instead of pushing me to not do it, now she's pushing me to do it more.
That's so awesome. I'm 41 and my dad's like, I'll visit him and he'll say, "You're nuts." Like, be careful. Okay, Dad.
Yeah, that's my dad too. Like my mom's very encouraging, but my dad's still kind of like, well, I need to make sure that you're okay. You're my little girl. Like, what if something happens so you get arrested? And I'm like, no, Dad, I got this. I got this. I got myself.
Can you hear us, Ashley?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. My phone is just glitching. I don't know.
All good. Do you want to share how your family reacts to you doing these events and being an activist for these causes?
Oh, well, with my family, it's definitely the opposite of what a lot of people would expect because I grew up religious, so my parents believe certain things, and when I first started this, they were totally against it, and they're still kind of against it. I think the only person that actually supports me is one of my brothers, but everybody else is basically just like against me going out there and protesting and doing all this because of their religious beliefs. So I don't have much support there besides with my brother.
That's where Helen comes in and all your awesome comrades. I was just
Hmm.
making a joke that I'm 41, and when I go visit my dad, he'll say, "Are you doing any of those things again?" And he gets very, like, he teases me. He's like, "You're gonna get arrested." Yeah, so what? What if I do?
That's what I
And
say.
what?
So what?
Yeah.
I won't call you. I promise. I'll call my husband. Yeah, parents are funny. I think part of it is they just worry, like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not really me he has to be concerned about. Like, I'm the one that's going to be blocking the people of color because they're the ones that
Hmm.
people need to worry about. They're the ones who police are going to go at. Um, have you guys had any, any altercations or any issues with police at your rallies that you've done?
Man, I know Helen's got something great to say, but I'm gonna go first real quick.
Oh yeah, we do.
Um,
So I mean, just
and
our
after,
last protest, right? Was it our last one? The last,
yeah,
very last one, right? They shut down
yeah,
a whole street to make sure we couldn't get through. They
yep,
literally, we were marching. We were in downtown Reno, and we started by I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about, but it's like an arc, and it says the biggest little city in the world, and we met there. And of course, we were so many people that there was a lot of cops that started going in bikes and walking around, just patrolling. When we started marching, we had a cop that we thought, okay, well, he said he's gonna escort us to wherever our destination is. So both Ashley and I were like, okay, we're going to the police station because, Black Lives Matter. Our demand is defund the police. So we wanted to go get heard by the actual people that are supposed to be hearing us, hearing our cries, our injustices, our voices. Little did we know we were gonna give them a heads up. Little did we know we tipped them off, and they closed down literally the whole street that gets to the police station. And after we got there, they were like refusing to give us any information. I think the four questions that we kept asking was, number one, the badge number of the sheriff that called the shot there, his name, which both of those are, we're legally supposed to be able to get that public information, his badge number and name. And then we also asked, well, why is the street shut down? They didn't answer any of our questions. They left us hanging. Basically, they kind of just said, in the nicest way ever, just fuck off, like you're not getting to our police station. So of course we got mad, and then we were demanding, like, okay, well, you at least need to tell us why this street is shut down, because as far as I know, we have the freedom of speech and the freedom of protest to take it to wherever we want to take it to. And if that's the police station, then that's the police station. And they took that away from us. So it kind of pissed off me, Ashley, and the two Black Lives Matter organizers that were standing in solidarity with us. And ooh, if I don't know if you saw the video, but they brought riot gear out. They got like, I think it was like 20 cops out, literally just for 4 females. Because at one point it was just me, Ashley, and the 2 other organizers for BLM out there by ourselves, and there was no need for 20 cops with riot shields and riot gear against us. Just because we were asking questions too. It wasn't even like we were doing anything. We were just asking for their badge number and name and the reason why they shut down the street and the reason why they're not letting us through. And that escalated really fast. So once we saw that we were outnumbered, then we left. There was nothing we could do. But that to me was the most infuriating moment with the cops at one of our protests.
Yeah, it's just a intimidation tactic.
Yeah.
The riot gear for 4 people. I live in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and last year we had a law passed that police stations were getting an additional $77,000 each for new riot gear. We're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The only people you see with guns are Trumpers. I mean, that's just how it is. Like, they're at the Capitol all the time. You've probably seen them on the news, with, supporting Trump and stuff. But when we have rallies, we're standing there with poster board signs. I don't know what they're scared of, but they show up like they're in Iraq and they are ready to go. That's so frustrating. What about you, Ashley? Does anything stand out to you?
I think I have 2 incidents where I think at our first protest, I don't know if it was our first or second, we were downtown, and we had like at least 7 to 10 cars just full of Trump supporters coming our way with their flags hanging out, people screaming at us, them trying to intimidate us, just trying to, I guess, provoke us. Obviously, it didn't work because nothing happened, but it was so frustrating because the cops that were there, they didn't do anything. They were more worried about what we did than what they did. And I was getting so pissed off because I was like, okay, like, why don't you go after them? There's like 8 cars full of people, and you're more worried about us when we literally aren't doing anything. We're literally staying where we are at. So that's one thing that really irritated me. And then that protest at the jail, I don't know if you saw our Instagram, but after that protest, I got so much hate on a post that the sheriff shared, telling us that we did a good job with the protest and whatever. There was just a numerous amount of just racist, ignorant people that just came for me, telling me that I was stupid, that I was ignorant, that I didn't know anything, that why would we protest at a jail when we could go to a detention facility. Oh my God, I spent like an hour or 2 just arguing with people. A lot of my friends had to jump in, and I was just like, you know what? I'm done. So I made a video, and I don't know if you saw the video, but
I did, yeah, and it kicked ass. And I saw the screenshots where you were like, listen, privileged bitch. And I was like, oh.
That's actually.
Yeah, I have no filter. I'm sorry. But
I mean, talking to them like, you really don't that doesn't work. I mean, we know this. It doesn't work. So, hey, they're already hateful people. What are you going to do? Just release it, let it out. I was like, yeah, I mean, people online get real ugly real quick. But
did you see the Douglas protest, Joy?
I'm sorry?
Did you see the Douglas protest? The protest we just had this last Saturday up in Minden, Nevada?
No, I saw some pictures, but that was all I happened to see.
No, I went because I'm also part of an organization called the Brown Berets. We kind of did like security for Black Lives Matter. And boy, if you knew, like, we literally, the worst of the worst people had to come up to us and literally just, I got called all racial slurs in the book. I got told to go back to my country. I got told to step off their land, that I don't belong here just because of having the Mexican flag out. Because our organization is full of Chicanos. It's all Mexican people. With that being said, of course, there was there was these two militia 3%. I'm not sure if you're aware of who they are, but they're like basically the security for them. They came up all geared out, you know, like riot gear, guns, shotguns, and everything. They came to intimidate us, and two of them actually ended up pushing me, but I got in trouble with one of the cops because I started yelling back, which made no sense. But definitely here at the Douglas protest was probably the worst of all our protests that I attended, because it wasn't our protest, it was Black Lives Matter, but worst one I've ever attended. I got insulted, I got called racial slurs, and then I get in trouble basically for just having my own back, for, you know, just speaking up and defending myself. And of course, you know, they were with them because the reason why we were out there was to protest against a sheriff, and the Trump supporters obviously were there for their sheriff. So when they came at us, the sheriff and the police obviously had their back. So that was like a whole loss in that protest, and it was ugly, like very ugly. A lot of there was a lot of people that got from our Black Lives Matter supporters that got spit on, like they got spit in their face. One kid at 16 years old, I think, got sucker punched. Another kid got beat up, and they were both under the age of 18. And then another woman that almost got partially ran over. So that protest was horrible. And then the sheriffs and cops were not on our side. So when the kid got beat up, there's a reporter there that took actual video of the guy getting beat up. They took it to the cops and they did nothing. We haven't heard back. There's no case, there's no nothing. And that was a grown dude punching a 16-year-old. So we thought it, you know, that we were going to get some sort of justice, but so far nothing.
Wow.
And that's frustrating.
Yeah, that's disgusting. I mean, people who go to protests, you know, we do risk our safety, our health, whatever, when we go. That comes along with the territory. But it's bananas how we're risking it from people who are so-called protecting the people. That's what breaks my heart, because you see so many African Americans that's like, you know, he's getting attacked, but who do you call? You can't call the police. The police are the ones doing it.
Right.
So when people come at you and they say, what do you mean defund the police? People don't understand what that means. They don't try to, honestly, but abolish the police is not the same as defund the police. But so many people want to reform the police.
Yes.
Why? Which I, whew, what? Oh yeah. I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's mighty. The caucasity of that one. Okay. What does what does why do you guys support reform, or excuse me, why do you support defunding over reforming?
Well, personally, for me, like you said, that there's so much money that goes to them, and for what? So they can just use it on us and make it seem like we're the bad people when instead they're actually the ones that are actually doing the criminal activity. For me, I feel like just like defunding ICE, there's so much money that can be taken away from them that can be used for other things, like to actually educate more people, or to be able to provide Medicare for immigrants, or to be able to help them get an education or something. There's so much other things that we can do with that money, but no, the police unfortunately are getting all this funding for what? Riot gear? What are they going to do? Then they're going to end up on the news, of course, hurting someone or killing someone accidentally, and it's like, why are we giving them all this money? They're the criminals. Like, why is it okay for you to think that way? But I personally feel like there's so much other things that we can do to help the less fortunate than giving the police so much money for some stupid ass riot gear.
Absolutely. How about you, Alan?
Same. I mean, I feel like like she said, there's so many other things that we could be funding that also goes into correlation of what, you know, they have on their slate. Like they shouldn't, like, for one, when they're like the case here, the Micaiah Lee, you know, he was a mentally ill person, and he they shouldn't have cops go for that. Like, they're not trained for that. They don't know how to calm down a mentally disabled person, you know, and they don't have the training for that. Whereas, you know, maybe a social worker can go out, or, you know, if he was under the age of 18, I believe, you know, CPS, someone that works with children, you know, someone that knows how to deal with things like that should get funded for calls like that. Yeah, they might call 911, but 911 can have another department that they call and be like, okay, you guys need to go and handle that, because that's what your training is for. Not the cops, where they're just trained to respond to a call, and then if they can't get someone under control, they will shoot or use force. You know, that's what the cops is there for, like for criminals, but not for a mentally disabled person, not for a person that, I don't know, got hurt, you know, at their house. Like, yeah, you call an ambulance, you call a doctor, you know, you don't just, they shouldn't be sending police out for everything, is what I'm trying to get at. And so that's why I support defund the police, because we can be putting that money to the departments that can be helping for those other calls. So I feel like defunding the police is better than reforming, because reforming, we're gonna have them take on more stuff. They're gonna have more calls to pick up. They're gonna have more people that they got to deal with that isn't their problem. It's like, for me, the Micaiah Lee case is the number one prime example of defund the police. They shouldn't have been on that call. They shouldn't have been the one to respond to that. So I feel like reforming the police is just going to give them more tasks that they're not ready for. So I feel like we should give that tasks to the departments and organizations that are already out, that are trained for things like that. So I support defunding the police.
And it's almost like, you know, by saying reform the police, it's like they think we can train people to not be racist. Like, they're
Right.
racist. How do you reform that? It doesn't work that way. Let's see. We have some comments. ACAB. um, uh, let's see. Thank you so much, Jesus, for the donation. Let's see. Oh, so a lot of people agreeing. That's awesome. Definitely check out the comments after the show.
Oh, yeah.
Most definitely.
There's no hate. I haven't seen any hate yet, I promise.
Good. I mean, there are type of people.
They like us.
Are awesome. They know. Look, my name is, they call me Savage Joy for a reason. If you're going to come up here and be an asshole, I will call you out by name on video. I do not care. I've done it before.
That's awesome.
Okay, Joy. Okay, I see you.
Savage Joy.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. And if there's something you want to leave our viewers with, what do you each want them to take away from our discussion?
You go first.
Wanna go? Okay. Basically, I just want them to know that I hope that there's more people, more young people like us that take the initiative to get out there and fight for people like we are the voice of the voiceless. I hope more people can stand up to bullies and all these other people trying to tear us down, telling us that we're dumb, that we're ignorant. We know at the end of the day we have our morals, we know what we're doing, and all we're trying to do is just help people. So I just want to see more people calling their friends out, calling their family members out, like, hey, go get on this protest, go participate, go do what you got to do, but don't just sit on your ass all day and post on Facebook and think that that's okay. No, you got to get out there to make a change, because if we're not making the change, who else is going to do it? We can't expect people to just do everything for us. So I really hope people can go out there and encourage their friends. What?
I say mostly the government. Can't rely on them.
Yep. And just spread positivity and participate in our digital protest and just try and unite as much people as you can, because at the end of the day, this is our fight against the government. It shouldn't be our fight against each other. We need to stand united, and I hope we will.
Right on. How about you, Helen?
So yeah, I just want to express how important it is for me and Ashley that everyone participates in the digital protest that Project Unity has been posting on our pages. You can literally call out to one of us. I know my phone numbers, personal cell phone numbers on there, personal emails are on there. You can always reach out on Messenger, Instagram, wherever it is. We can help you go step by step on recording your digital protest, as well as showing you how you can have a loved one interview you, or a best friend or a spouse. It's very easy to participate, so we are really doing a call of action for everybody watching and participate in the digital protest that Project Unity has put out there. And as well as I wanted to shed some light on the sex trafficking that's going on. I'm sure everyone and their moms are on Save Our Children. The whole gaining awareness for sex trafficking. I am a 100% supporter on that. I am very against sex trafficking and pedophilia. So I want everyone, to remember, save our children, keep the trend going, keep the hashtags up. And anyone that's watching us from Reno, Nevada, we're going to protest against sex trafficking and pedophilia soon. So just keep updated on that, because I wanted just to mention real quick, ICE kids are the most vulnerable kids out there. They got no birth certificate, they got no record of being in the US. They are so easily sex trafficked. And honestly, that's where the missing kids are. I truly believe that the missing kids are in some sort of sex trafficking ring, and we all need to gain awareness on that and abolish ICE because of it. So
Yep.
yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say now.
Absolutely. Right on. Thank you guys so much for joining us. You guys have so much love in the comments. So
Thank you.
thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tomorrow night, I have activist Nick Cruz. He's with Black Lives Matter. On Twitter, he's Socialist MMA. He is a badass, and I can't wait to have him. I have independent presidential candidate Mark Charles coming on the 17th. He is a Native man. And most of his policies are for Indigenous people centered around there. So he's incredible. I have Nick Brana coming on, who's doing the People's Party convention. I have Mike Figueredo coming on, who is from Humanist Report. And the 20th, I am going on Miss Nina Turner's podcast with Pat. She's interviewing us about our new book that's being printed right now. So a lot of good shit coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, thank you guys so much for joining. It was a great talk with you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Take care.
You guys as well.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.